Hi, my name is Ashley Wilson. I am 19 years old and I have cystic fibrosis. I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at birth. I was born in Denver, Colorado, which was the first state in the nation to include cystic fibrosis in newborn screening. My symptoms included failure to thrive. This means I was not able to grow or gain weight due to lack of enzymes. My body was not able to digest the milk that was given to me. After diagnosing me with cystic fibrosis, they began treating me by giving me digestive enzymes to help me be able to digest the milk I was given and begin growing and gaining weight. At the age of 6 months, they began doing chest percussions, which means they would cup their hands like this. I don't know if you can, cup their hands like this on my back, chest, and on the side of my chest to develop a routine. At the age of 3, I was beginning to use the vest machine, which you have seen in previous videos, which is the machine where I wear a vest and it helps me shake to help cough up the mucus. However, at that time, I was not having problems with my lungs. It was more my digestive system. The effect on my lungs due to cystic fibrosis did not occur until I was a little bit older. If I could describe with one word what it is like growing up with cystic fibrosis, I would say emotional, because having this genetic illness, it can not only take a toll on you physically, but also mentally / emotionally, because just everything that is involved with the treatments and also the wear that it has on your body, and also when you see a few of your friends who also have cystic fibrosis, how the illness affects them. By living with cystic fibrosis, I have learned to not take life for granted. Big or small, every opportunity that we are given is a blessing. Getting a job, that's an incredible blessing. That breath you just took, that's small, but it's still a blessing. The ability to look out your window and see the sky, that's a blessing. Everything that is around us and every situation we are given, good or bad, is a blessing, because we don't know when our last day is on earth, and we have to live life to the fullest and not take anything for granted. And because of cystic fibrosis, I've been able to treasure what I'm given and not take it for granted. From living with cystic fibrosis, I am incredibly thankful for my doctors. And I don't just have 1 or 2 doctors, I have teams and specialists. I have a team that specializes in cystic fibrosis. I have a team that specializes in cystic fibrosis related diabetes. I have a team that specializes in cystic fibrosis liver disease. I even have an ENT doctor to make sure my sinuses are clear, because cystic fibrosis can also affect the sinuses. So as you can see, I have many teams and doctors of specialists to keep me healthy. One thing I wish people understood about cystic fibrosis is that it does not affect us the same way. More times than not, if someone knows what cystic fibrosis is or has a small understanding of what it is, they automatically jump to conclusions to someone else that they know who has cystic fibrosis. But the way I like to explain it to people is that people living with cystic fibrosis are like snowflakes. No 2 snowflakes are alike, just like people with cystic fibrosis are not alike. Because it is a genetic illness, it affects those with cystic fibrosis all differently. For instance, it may affect that person more so in the lungs than the digestive system, or it may affect them more in the digestive system than in the lungs, or it may just affect them in both areas equally. We're all different, and we all have a different protocol because of the needs that our body have. One hardship because of cystic fibrosis that I have overcome occurred last summer, the summer of 2015. About mid-July, I was very healthy. I was actually the healthiest I'd ever been. I was going to golf camps and training to get my golf technique better, and I had developed muscles, and I was at a healthy weight, and I was doing very well. Then about the third day of golf camp, we began to notice a few differences in my health. I noticed my muscles felt very fatigued, and it wasn't due to golf. It wasn't the kind of muscle pain that you get from working out. It's like every muscle and every nerve in my body just felt so achy. And whenever I walked from room to room in my house, I had to sit in each room to catch my breath and to get my energy back up. So we knew something was wrong with that, but we weren't exactly sure what was happening. Then late one night, after coming home from golf camp, I took a pain reliever, and about 15 minutes later, I threw it up. And so we're like, okay, we're gonna keep you home from that. And that morning after breakfast, I threw that up about an hour later. And after lunch, I threw that up an hour later. A snack, I threw that up an hour later. And as time progressed with all those times I threw up my food, we noticed that it was bright red. The last one was bright red. The earlier times that I had thrown up were dark red. So we knew I was bleeding somewhere inside my body. So we called my doctor, and he told us to go to the ER. Went to the ER and realized that there was somewhere bleeding in my body, and it wasn't determined where. So they picked me up in an ambulance and took me to my hospital. And as the next day when I got up there, because by the time I got up there it was about 3 a.m. So a couple hours later, they came in and they did an endoscopy on me. And what that is, they go down my esophagus with a little camera with a tube to see where the bleeding is happening. And fast forwarding a little bit, the bleeding was caused because my liver was not able to filter the blood like it is supposed to. So it got backed up, and the blood had to go to the next opening, and that was my esophagus, and there was bleeding in my esophagus because of that. So basically they had to fix up my esophagus, just patch it up, I guess I could say, and they had to do what is called a TIPS procedure on my liver. And basically they put a tiny little tube, it's called a little shunt. You can look it up online, I'll put a picture right here, but it's a little tube, and it went into basically a vein or an opening in my liver to create a bypass for the blood to continue to filter. So they did the procedure, it went well, I recovered, and they let me go home. About 3 days later, I was having these very bad stomach aches. And it wasn't the kind of stomach ache that you get from a cramp. It was the point where it would make me almost collapse to the ground, and I would have to wait for the cramp to finish before I could stand up again. So basically I was lying in bed a lot of the time. So they took me up to my hospital and they checked me out, and everything was fine, and they sent me back home. Next day, something completely different changed in my attitude. I was acting like a complete monster child slash toddler slash very disrespectful towards my parents. After having a TIPS procedure, a side effect is that the ammonia levels in the body might rise. Now, everyone has ammonia in their body, but the range that is usually kept in is the 30s. That's the healthy range. But for me, the night before when we went to my hospital, it was in the 30s, and the next day it has skyrocketed all the way up to 200, which is not a healthy state. Basically, when the ammonia levels go up, it's a toxin to your brain. Basically, you act opposite of your character, you act confused, and you act a little bit aggressive, very aggressive actually. So they took me back up to the hospital, and they realized it was because I was eating too much protein. And this is because when you live with cystic fibrosis, you have to maintain a certain weight, because if your body maintains that certain amount of weight, your lungs do well. If you go below that weight, your lungs might start to decline. So there's a range that's good for people with cystic fibrosis. And for me to be able to keep up my weight, I have to eat about 3,000 calories a day. So that includes a lot of protein. But because of my TIPS procedure, they had to change that to where it was high calorie but low protein. And so they adjusted my insulin so I was able to get a lot of my calories from carbohydrates. So once they helped me get back to a normal and healthy state, they let me go home, and it was a very emotional ride for me with the recovery process. Not only because I was learning a new system of how I was supposed to calculate my food now, I also had flashbacks to the hospital where I would have nightmares about just different situations that happened in the hospital, or just things about when my ammonia level went up that I didn't want to remember. So that affected me, and also the fact that I lost 22 pounds and a lot of my muscle while I was in the hospital. And mind you, all this occurred about a month's time. I was basically in the hospital for a month. And I was so angry because I had worked really hard to get that muscle, and then it's hard enough with this new diet to maintain my weight. Not only that, I have to gain back those 22 pounds I had lost, and I'm like, I don't know how in the world I'm supposed to do that. But I overcame it, and I am doing healthy. My liver is doing well, and my diet is good, and I was able to gain back my weight, and I have gained almost all of the muscle that I lost. So it took a while, but I was able to overcome that hardship. As you can see, cystic fibrosis has its challenges, and it's easy to become burdened by a lot of the stuff that we have to deal with, but it's just a part of something that I have to live with. But I don't let that bring me down, and I want to live life to the fullest, and I don't want to be living life in a negative mindset and and not be able to enjoy the blessings that I'm given. So if you're watching this, or yeah, you're watching this, don't feel sad, because this is not a video to make you feel sad. This is a video to show you basically why I started this channel, because there are a lot of things that a lot of people deal with, but it's basically on you as an individual how you're going to take on your life and how you're going to present your situations. Are you going to have a positive mindset, or are you going to have a negative mindset? With cystic fibrosis, it's very easy to have a negative mindset, but I refuse to have a negative mindset, and there have been times where I've gotten frustrated about this illness, but I've still overcome them. And I thought this was an important story to share with you, so you could understand a little bit more about me. As this channel continues, you'll be learning more and more about me, about my personality, and about my illness, and about my life. But I thought this was an important story to share with all of you. But next week I am very excited to share with a video that I've been working on for, gosh, since I want to say August. Yeah, I want to say August. I started working on this video, but it includes 4 other very strong and incredible people who also live with cystic fibrosis, who I am very happy to call my friends. So stay tuned for next week, and I hope you really like the video. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and comment below if you have any questions regarding cystic fibrosis. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already, and please feel free to follow any of my social media, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Get on the program. Wait, are you gonna get it or am I gonna get it?
I can get it.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll hand it to you. Okay, we're ready now.